It seems like one of the new fads for the gaming industry is turning franchises into board games. We've had quite a few prominent conversions lately, from XCOM a while ago to the recent Doom and Dark Souls miniature games, as well as one by Riot as well. All of which look great, and the Dark Souls one is even getting good reports so far as well. I even noticed that there is now a Bloodborne card game that has been released as well. While I don't have anyone to play them with right now, I'm still rather intrigued, as they seem far better designed than the usual media crossovers, and also seem to interpret both the mood and the mechanics quite well to make enjoyable, fun experiences for those wanting more of their favourite IPs. This then made me wonder what other games and IPs might make a decent board game or miniature experience. So here we go with my top list. The Witcher has both an amazing lore background and interesting aesthetic style. The whole system of preparation for and attacking the monsters that inhabit the world could play out well both on a competitive board or just a straight up adventure style card game. Imagine playing against your friends to see who could fulfill certain contracts fast enough, finding new items and gear as you go, scavenging materials and ingredients, unlocking new story events as you play, upgrading or playing specific cards when tackling enemies. That sounds like an amazing system. Out of all the MMOs, I tend to think that WildStar may work best in a board game format. Part of that is the bright and interesting aesthetic, but also because its sci-fi themes have a lot of interesting elements there to play with. The classes each have a fun design and a vibrant skill set. The world design lends itself to a cartoony, simplified system of rules. The heavy movement and telegraph style combat would lend itself pretty well to a miniature tabletop experience as well. I'm kind of imagining a dungeon run or raid style system, as well as tackling many of the known instances in the game at the moment, but simplified of course. There could even be elements of upgrading skills, adding new tokens, new abilities, and of course gear throughout this play. Now, I've been playing Darkest Dungeon quite a bit this year, and just about every system in this game is like a perfect dungeon crawling board game, except in digital format. The various classes and damage from skills, the random nature of events and skill usage, and the dungeon design in general. It's all based around equations that take into account die rolls, whether you hit or miss, the critical damage, all those elements. Of course, these are far more complex in game, but I don't think you would actually lose much from transforming it into a simpler mold. Plus, god damn, I would love some miniature merchandise from this game. I absolutely adore the Borderlands universe and overall aesthetic. It's bright and vibrant, humorous and crazy, and nearly always completely over the top. For this game though, I was thinking more a classical style would suit it. Maybe something around reaching the vault in time before others, but along the way having a number of crazy adventures. You could bring out the characters and their lore effectively, creature and enemy roadblocks. Maybe even that style of, the game of life kind of situation where you flow along this board and then you could bring out the characters and lore effectively, creature and enemy roadblocks you have to overcome, story elements where you make certain choices and complete missions along the way to get you more wealth and more abilities as you go. Of course, along the way, maybe some kind of card-based system for progression that brings into play the loot horse style of gun gathering, with the eventual aim of being strong enough to get into that vault and, of course, win the game. Chroma Squad is a great game I've been playing this year, but also absolutely perfect for a miniature style game as well. It's already both board and turn-based in the digital version, so easy enough to convert, but also has a surprising amount of depth, like the cooperative attacks that could be reworked into enjoyable systems. The systems of progression would probably work well too, with how gradual items and components give slight power boosts. The crafting elements there, as well as the mission structure, would give enough direction too. I think the world is just waiting for a Power Rangers style parody board game. I am too. One of the games that has become a cult classic to itself is of course Spelunky with its random generated dungeon crawling aspects. And I'm not sure why I was thinking this, but some kind of block stacking game with various elements like blocks, gear, and other mechanics that you constantly construct as a duo while tallying points as you go. But of course then you can choose to quit at any time, have your points tallied, or get nothing if your little Spelunky tower falls over. Silly idea, but it would be a nice kids/party game. Bioshock is a huge franchise, and of course it's just waiting to reborn as a board game. My idea here is that if Doom can be a board game, I am absolutely sure Bioshock could as well. The combat of using various guns and weaponry to vanquish your foes, probably based on cards, and traversing a certain map in search of specific objectives. It's a simple and rather obvious setup, but with the lore and the story of the IP, I think it could definitely become a rather interesting experience, and probably worth it for the miniatures alone. Civilization has of course been converted into a board game before, but I found that one a little bit lacking. At first for this one I was thinking some kind of elaborate Risk type board game with various countries and city-states you control that are added to by various cards and counters, then moving around your military pieces to match. But then a better idea hit me. A Civilization deck building game. Imagine the card possibilities here, and it's perfect. You start with a simple variation of cards on the board that are constantly added to as the game progresses. You continually draw cards as you go, adding them to the board, countering the enemy. And I'm thinking a few resource style cards as well, from research to gold and happiness, that could be added to your cities or used to construct certain card types that you've come across. And that's my idea, folks. What video games would you like turned into a board game and why? Leave your comment below. Thanks.